there, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is April, and I love doing content in the arena of all things living a lifestyle enriched by motivation, inspiration, and mentorship. And I am so excited that you are all here for this video. I'm excited for our special guest because, yes, you guessed it, Mia is back for another conversation that is going to be loaded up into our Let's Chat About It series. And of course, as the title says, this is something you should be doing on the regular. So as always, make sure you get yourself a drink of whatever you like, relax, sit back, and enjoy the ride. And as we're talking and everything, we want you to be a part of it as well. So make sure you're dropping your comments down below so we can start a conversation about, anything that we're talking about in today's video, because it would just be really nice to just see the communication and the community coming together. So yeah, I guess without further ado, we'll go ahead and start the show. I hope you enjoy. Hey, Mia.
Hello, April. Hello, Motivation Suite community. How are you?
Oh, we are doing good. I already primed everybody, so I think we're all in the good place right now.
Fantastic.
And of course, I wanted to make sure that we were all set and ready to go. So I've already shared a little bit about what we're going to be talking about, but I did leave a little bit to mystery.
Okay.
So they're probably wondering, what exactly is she going to be bringing up today? Well, everybody, this is what we're going to be talking about, something that we should be doing so much more of. And as I shared earlier, something we should be doing on the regular. Now, as we're wrapping up the celebration, if you will, there's a hint there, of Women's History Month, we have been really recognizing all women doing wonderful things within their communities and for society as a whole all throughout the month. And of course, this is something we should be celebrating and reflecting on all through the year. But I digress. So I am just so excited because I think the fact is that, we're rounding off the end of the month here. And I was thinking, what would be a good conversation to talk about as we put a close to this year's actual review of what we're doing in this month. And I thought, you know what? Celebration. Yeah, such a simple word, celebrating. And why we don't do enough of it, and why we cannot do enough of it with each other, right? I mean, it's so important to remember, not only should we reflect on the things that we are doing and the accomplishments and how we show up in the world for others, how we're participating, how we're volunteering, how we're changing lives literally. We should also be looking at, recognizing others doing the same thing. So, I thought it would be kind of nice to kind of explore that area a little bit. So you ready for this conversation?
Yes, I'm ready.
And as I told everybody in the community meeting, that, look, make sure you guys are jotting down your comments below. We'd like to know what you guys are thinking about in regards to some things that we mentioned in today's video, because we want you to be a part of this as well. I mean, we're a community here, so I just really would like us to just kind of go back and forth and just, it's fun to do that. So, of course, one of the things that I'm thinking about when I try to reflect on why it's so difficult to celebrate ourselves, because I'm guilty of it too, So I can't really throw stones too much, but I'm gonna throw a little stone. I'm getting better at it, right? I'm evolving and really taking a hard look at my self-care and self-love aspects that helps me to remember to take the time to do that, right? So just as much, at least as I do for others, I want to give that to myself as well. So, I was thinking though, some of the things that would be an issue towards why we may not always take the time to celebrate ourselves. One is feeling guilty. Like, you're guilty about taking the time to say, hey, I did a good job, or give my own self a pat on the back, as if somehow we're not supposed to, be able to toot our own horn every now and again, I never really understood that, but yet I'm guilty of doing that very thing myself. I have spent many times just grinding things out, doing whatever projects, whatever meetings I may needed to do, whatever type of briefings that I might have to do more on the professional level. And then let's not mention all things that I might have done in my personal life, with, individuals that I'm helping out or doing things with, but I never really took the time to sit back and think about, wow, look at all the things that you were doing and you're accomplishing, you know? And I think when we fall into that trap of guilt, it really stems from, I don't really know what it stems from, honestly. I don't know who told us that as women, we're not supposed to be celebrating ourselves and excited about what we do. I just don't know where that came from. It's so funny the things that what I think are like chains that you're breaking, literally, these methodologies that we have just grown up to believe or exercise in, is that there's something wrong with saying, hey, wow, I did a good job, and being proud of that and stepping into that with that confidence. And, I just never understood why that was never an issue for us. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
It's interesting that you said that, there are times that we don't look at things in a way that we should, and how we feel guilty about that. I remember growing up, as a woman, you just did things. No one ever asked you how to do it or why to do it or if you should do it. You just kind of stepped into the plate and you just took a swing, and the ball went wherever it went to. So I think as women, we just have that grit inside of us to just do things, to get things done, to want to see things accomplished. And by nature, we're nurturers. So that's just a part of who we are. So, we give of ourselves so much, and we don't stop to think that, at some point we should receive something in return.
Yes.
And, as far as the guilty part of it, I know for myself, a lot of times I look at things that I do and I step back and I say, well, could I have done more? Did I give it my best?
Right.
Is it something that I can say I'm proud of? I think about Michael Jackson. Of course, he's my favorite, all-time favorite artist. But one of the things I thought was interesting about his work ethic, and we look at him on the screen, we watch his videos, listen to his music, and we listen to him, and you would never think that he hit a bad note or he had a bad song, but in his mind, he was never good enough. Yeah. And he literally would do things over and over and over because it just wasn't right. It wasn't right. And when I watched that and I listened to that, I said, wow, that's interesting, because that's the same way I feel about myself. There's a lot of times I do things and other people say, oh, Mia, you did a great job. That was awesome. That was cool. And I said, well, I probably could have did this, or if I could do it again, I probably would do this differently. So I know for me personally, I just always feel like I'm not good enough.
Right. Oh, and I mean, that's so key. And it really kind of slides into the second thing I was thinking about, is why we don't actually celebrate ourselves enough is, feeling that you're not worthy, that you're not validated enough, that you are not important enough, that there's people who are doing so many things more than you. And so what makes you think, how dare you think that you should be able to take time and celebrate you? And, when I listen to what you're saying, so many of us, including myself, falls into that trap of that perfectionist. And, the bottom line is, and I have to actually say this to myself, perfection doesn't exist, right? I mean, it doesn't. Nothing will ever be the exact way you want it at the exact time that you want it. I mean, it's just, you have to really roll with those punches. And so you're so right about that, being definitely an element that is resonate with so many of us. You're always trying to do this, even if you think in your mind, I know that I'm not going to get everything the way I want it, but I'm going to do the best I can. And then all of a sudden it starts to snowball into this really, dangerous territory of perfectionism.
Yes.
You're still never satisfied. I mean, anyway, then you still always find ways to find that it's not enough, and always find ways to be, your worst critic. And, I think that's so true with form. I think one of the areas in our lives and in our shared experiences in the military, which was, I think, a really great way of empowering you to be able to move and do things that you may have never thought or were ever comfortable doing initially ever before. And, you're put into a situation where, here is a scenario, or here's a group of people you must lead. Here's a scenario of something you need to fix. And hey, by the way, we need this done by whatever it is. And you're left to the devices of the training that you were given and hopefully your own common sense and wit, and you do something with that. And I think that when you build up that confidence, you're doing that, often, because you are often put in positions to do that, it can be really a great opportunity to kind of build up that validation in you. Now there's still a little bit of a slip slide because, what we did was all in service, right? And so the epitome of service kind of maybe contradict a little bit about worrying about you, but that's not what this is about. I think that's why we have awards in that system. That's why we have recognition in that system, because you do have to understand the gravity of what you do and how you change people's lives, how effective you are in someone else's life, even if you don't see that recognition one-on-one all the time. There are things happening that you're a part of, and you have a right to take a step back and really reflect on that and say, yeah, I did that. I sure did. And own it, claim it, because you claim and own everything else. You'll claim and own whatever you think you did wrong. You'll claim and own whatever you criticize yourself of. So why not take the wins as well? It's kind of like if you're, being an entrepreneur, right? You take the hits and the losses. It's all on you. So you might as well go ahead and celebrate those wins for yourself. So, but that was a really good point you make about that, because procrastination, boy, that is like the death of dreams. It's the death of motivation. It's the death of moving forward. It's just the death. And I'm hoping that what we have dealt with over the last few years, and for some people throughout their entire life, that at some point a light bulb comes on where they start to give themselves permission to validate themselves, permission to say it's okay to celebrate me, even if someone over here is not celebrating. I don't need them to celebrate me, right? I need to be able to celebrate myself. Oh, I'm about to preach. I feel something coming on. Because I'm feeling that. You have to know when it is time for you to validate yourself. I cannot tell you that enough. That is so important, because if you sit here and wait for everybody else to do it, sometimes that time will never come. And you're still looking like a dog. So, no offense to dogs.
I think too that it really has a lot to do with understanding your identity, because there for a long time I was doing a lot of things just based upon habit, because it was something that I needed to do. But when I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, Mia, who are you? I wasn't able to answer that question. And for so many people, I was a certain person. I was a certain element of their life. But when I asked myself that question, I couldn't answer it. So I really believe that, especially as women, we've got to realize the influence, and you touched upon that, the influence that we have, regardless of, where you are, what stage of life you're in. If you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're a businesswoman, if you're in corporate America, whatever it is that you're doing, you still have to recognize that you are an influencer. I think about so many women, especially with the pandemic, that aren't working, whether by choice or because they were forced out of a job, whatever the situation was. But I can imagine that they possibly may feel, well, I'm at home, woe is me, what change am I making? What difference does it make? Who even knows that I'm, here? But you got to take those negatives and turn it into positives. Right. You got to say, well, I'm in an opportunity to really make the environment, to really shift the environment, if you will, in my home. And even if it's just you, because, I live alone, but, I know that when I'm feeling bad, when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling negative, it's a negative energy in my house. I can just feel it.
Yes.
So, I'm learning that if I take that negative and try to find something positive, it could just be something really small. That in itself is a celebration.
Yes.
That in itself is a celebration. And I can literally begin to feel the weight lifting in my house. There's been times I've had to open up the windows, open up the doors, because it was just such a negative vibe going on in my home, because my attitude wasn't right, So, I think that we have to take the opportunity to do that and to recognize, who am I? Who am I really? And do I like where I'm at? Am I comfortable where I'm at? And if not, change it.
Yeah, that's true. And and I know some might wonder, well, how can I? Where do I start? What do I do? I think one of the first steps is recognizing that their change needs to occur. And then start looking at, what type of things in a perfect world, did I say perfect? in a progressive world, because it's progressive or progression, not perfection, that matters, and that's reality, right? But start looking at what things or how this element would look to you. What would a enlightened life look to you? What would a better job look to you? What would that, whatever it is you're trying to achieve to get beyond wherever you are right now, because you have already assessed that a change has happened. What is it going to take? And then start, I'm a fan of writing things down. I am a fan of journaling and taking down notes for myself, because I think that when you see things in a tangible way, it makes it real, even in its formative stages. And when you are taking those notes and checking things off, you're accomplishing things. You are creating wins for yourself,
Right.
And sometimes, how that saying that goes, if a door closes, then, one door closes and another one opens. Sometimes it may be a window. Sometimes you have to kick in a window. Sometimes you have to create another door. Sometimes you have to create your own opportunity and your own situation. If there's not something there for you already fit, then let's start seeing, what can I do to create that,
Yes.
So, and I think once you start looking at that aspect, and of course it's all about that, with storming and norming, or norming to storm. I think storming is the first of stages, like you would a project at your job. You want to look at what it is you want to do, how you feel you're going to get there by step, formulate it. Things can change along the way. That's why you have to be adaptable and flexible, and then start looking at what kind of resources you need. Do you need individuals? Do you need training? Do you need classes? What do you need to make this a reality? And then start taking it step by step. If you have to make a detour to do something else to kind of get you back on the track, that's okay too.
Right.
One of the things I think is so frustrating, and I suffer from this too, is a situation where you think of like a big picture, right? Because you always want to look at the big picture, but you cannot access in the big picture way. There's got to be those small pictures or small steps to get you to that big picture, because there's so many things that may need to evolve to create this entity that you're trying to get to, And so I think that when you look at it from that perspective, to kind of just take things in smaller dosages, it may be a little bit easier, just less overwhelming. And then you won't be, tempted to quit so fast.
Right.
So you definitely want to hang in there.
Yes, absolutely. And we oftentimes strive to have all these titles, these positions, all these accolades. But, what I'm learning is that the best title that you could have is CEO of your destiny.
Oh, I love that.
So, if you don't have any other title, know that you are the CEO of your destiny.
Yeah.
And you are the only one that has control as to whether or not your destiny is going to be fulfilled, or if it's not going to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
I love how you said that, we need to take things in small chunks.
Yes.
Goal setting is very, very important. A lot of times people, they like to write, they like to journal. Some people like to have what we call vision boards. So if they can actually see it every day, that it reminds them of what they're working towards. But when we think about goal setting, it could be done very small. What do you want to accomplish today?
Right.
Just today. In these next 24 hours, what do you want to do? And go back and reflect upon that at the end of the day. Did I accomplish that?
Right.
Was it the way I wanted it to be? And if not, what obstacles prevented me from doing it? How can I do it better tomorrow?
Yes.
So each and every day you should set goals for yourself. And I believe that if you do that, then at the end of the week, have a celebration, have a party. This is what I did. I can check this off my list. I can check that off my list. And maybe I didn't do this that way, but I did something else, or this other opportunity made itself available to me and I was able to do that. But celebrate, celebrate. It's so important to celebrate those achievements.
Absolutely. Goal setting, perfect way of being able to tackle those tasks and put them in a very realistic way, that it is feasible to go from step to step. Don't make it so huge in that beginning area. Just take one small step, whatever that means. Just one small step, and each small step will lead to a bigger step, and your confidence continues to keep building, And so it's so important. I really love that, what you said about that. Goal setting is a huge thing, because you set goals for pretty much everything in your life. You may not realize it. It may not be where you're, kind of profoundly stating that I'm goal setting, but you really are. When you wake up in the morning, that's a goal, to wake up in the morning, to get ready for work. That's a goal, to get ready to do whatever you're doing. It's a goal. So we've got to really look at normalizing those things, and when we put, the actual titles of what we're doing, understand that can be ingratiated into your life. It can be just part of what you do. Just add it to your lifestyle. That's why I say here, we're talking about a lifestyle enriched by all these things, right? Because it takes a village of not only people, but resources and experiences and things going and working for your better good, for your betterment, And, also I think about when I really pull down and look at the elements of validation, because that's such a crucial thing, right? Because experiences and negative experiences, more or less, are things that can make you feel that you're not a validated person, no matter what you're doing. If you don't see yourself in that space, it won't matter what anyone else is saying to you. And so, I look at that point that you have to start working on, of course, we always say healing, right? What is it that's stopping you? From feeling that you are worthy enough or important enough to be able to celebrate you. What is it? And then start, really peeling the onion back, so to speak, till you start discovering what are these things, and then start healing those elements. Because, you can tackle symptoms, but if you don't get to the core of the issue, you'll just keep having symptoms, And so I think that when you're talking about, how do I feel validated? How do I actively do that? There's many ways you can do it. If you feel that you need to do more trainings or adapt more skills because you need to feel more validated in doing a position, because you may feel like maybe I shouldn't be taking this on because I don't really know much, then you can do that. Right. Another thing that I like to do, and I swear by because I love it, and look, I have to make sure I remind myself of it sometimes, is affirmation. I absolutely love affirmation. I love anything that you affirm yourself to do, because an affirmation to me is a word with action. Now, an affirmation in itself, of course, is your words. It's your sayings. It's your mantras, right? It's what you feel to believe that you can do, accomplish, or who you are, and if for those things that you may not feel in that space, that I'm not there, say it to yourself often, because you will get there. That's just how things work, right? You have to make it. I love this term that I've been hearing a lot. Sherry Shepherd actually started using that term, and I just love it. Make these things a muscle. Make these things something that is just innate. It's just what happens. Everything that you do, everything that you accomplish, everything that you work towards, there is things that you have to do to get to that point, right? Not all of us are blessed with just everything handed to us. I don't know about you, but I've never had anything handed to me. I don't think I have a single thing, and I'm deserving of that. Okay. True. And it took a long time for me to realize I was deserving of that, but I am. And that does pad some of the feeling of validation that you deserve this. You deserve to have your moment in the spotlight. Because if you don't take your moment in the spotlight, somebody else will gladly do so. Whether they earned it or not. Yes. So validating. I mean, it's a tricky thing. It is, because we're talking about a lot more than just saying I'm validated. You have to feel that. And of course, for me, one of those things is affirmations. That is a big, huge part of that. Sometimes you're good. Sometimes you don't need to say a whole lot to yourself. You're feeling it. There's some times where you might feel a little down. Things could just kind of come at you. And you need a moment to regroup. A little bit of imposter syndrome, like, who am I to be doing X, Y, and Z?
Right.
Slow your roll. There's a lot of people doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, Slow your roll. You got something that you're bringing to the table that is worthy and that is helpful. You're on the right path. You really are. So, and that could take many forms, but, just remember that, if your intent is good, because that's really what it's all about, right? I mean, intent, That's the biggest thing. I mean, they talk about that in court law all the time. It's the intent that, makes out a certain thing. It's what you were in action to do. And affirmations work that much in a positive way, though. But they work to that. But affirmations are nothing without action. So you're saying these things to yourself. Now you have to start, believing those things. So you're saying it, then you're believing it, and then you are doing it. And you want to say like, hey, I want to be successful. Well, you got to decide, what do you want to be successful at? What does success mean to you? Because success is not the same for everybody. Okay. Success does not mean just money. Success does not just mean getting married. Success does not mean just having kids. Success does not mean, like you said, having a title. Success could mean, I'm able to get in my car, whatever position I'm in, but I can go to the beach whenever I want to. I can go and purchase whatever I want. Or I can sit on my couch that I work very hard to purchase, and then I can watch a movie if I want to. Maybe that's successful for the day. Maybe that's successful for my life. And that's, you made some good points in regards to, the pressures, if you will, I find societal pressures make you feel like you have to be something according to someone else's plan, and maybe not with your own plan and your own purpose. Yeah. So gets me every time. If I could just put that in everybody, if I could just tap, if I had the power, if I had that superhero power to just tap.
Oh, wow.
You are worthy, that you are enough. Gosh, this world would be such a better place. I mean, it's not bad in some areas, but we do need some work.
That's true. That's so true. That's so true.
This is my girls' night out class.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah.
Not part of my collection. It's part of somebody else's collection. That's stunning.
When you were talking about affirmations, I think that it's so important that you speak positive, you speak life into yourself. There's a song by Mary J. Blige that she recently released called Good Morning Gorgeous. And I love that song because when you listen to the lyrics, it is really a song of affirmation.
Yes.
And so many of us don't see ourselves as beautiful. If there's any gentlemen that are watching, you may not see yourself as handsome. You may not see yourself as successful. You may not see yourself as fill in the blank. But if you start speaking that over yourself, eventually you're going to start believing it. That faith is going to start tapping in, and you're going to start pursuing whatever that is. So affirmation is a powerful tool. Especially self-affirmation, because you may not have anybody to tell you that you're gorgeous. You may never have anybody to tell you, oh, you're really bright. You're very good at doing what you do. You got to tell yourself that. You got to believe it for yourself. Yes.
You really do. And you're right, because there's so many of us that don't have that, or or have people in your lives that you would expect to get that from, and then you don't get it.
Yes.
That's the same. Maybe that might even be worse in some cases, because you sit, hello, look at me over here, I'm doing stuff here, it's okay. Tell me I'm doing okay. And so many of us sit in silence and sometimes suffer in silence when it comes to those things. And I think that, it does create an avalanche also of other things, like not being able to say no to things that you need to say no to, not being comfortable with saying no, and just always feeling like you're underachieving when you're like blowing everybody out of the water with what you're doing, and how you're giving. And, and sometimes people, I have to say, you have to be careful sometimes how much energy you put into others. You were going above and beyond before, because they may turn around and not appreciate you as much as they should. And
that's true.
Being appreciated doesn't mean that you have to be told that all the time. Maybe some people do need that. I'll speak from my experience. It's not something I feel I need to hear all the time. I'm more about action. So if you appreciate me, you say that, yes, that's great on occasion, it's wonderful, but I'm looking at how you treat me. I'm looking at how you show you are appreciative of that. And if that means not causing me any drama, that's good.
Right.
If that doesn't mean telling me that, you're not doing enough, I need you to do more. Well, that's a problem, and it's not okay, So, there's a lot of things that you have to really reflect on when you are getting into the concept of understanding that you are validated. Sometimes it's not enough to just say the words, you're more than enough, because you are. And I always say that. I always stand by that. You're more than enough because you exist.
Right.
That's all it took. You didn't have to pass a test. You didn't have to go to another grade. You didn't have to go a couple steps on the Monopoly board. It is because it is, you know. So now what are you going to do with that? You know,
celebrate.
Exactly.
Celebrate.
Yeah. Woo! I wish I had some party things. That would have been really great. Just to add to that theme, because it's so important. But yeah, just validation, yes, important. You know, not feeling the guilt of the concept of why you can't celebrate yourself. I mean, why not? And I love when someone, you know, I had someone say to me, and I do love this so much, you know, and I was like, you know, I'm doing this, and like, look at me doing this. Ooh, my, who is this person? And they said, why not you? You know, and I'm like, yeah, why not me? You know?
Yes, right. That's true. That's so true.
You know, sometimes you don't always know up front how you're supposed to show up. It's kind of a funny way how God does those things, isn't it? How he just puts you in places. You don't always have to plan everything, because the plan, I think, is already somewhat set.
Yes.
My opinion. You know, but yeah, and you know, look, like I said, I'm a work in progress too. So every day, you know, if I have to repeat that to myself, I'm going to do that, you know, because we are human, and there are so many external situations that are happening that affect us in so many ways. And, you know, sometimes you're not always feeling at your peak best and ready to celebrate you. But, you know, it really does stem from, you know, validating and also, you know, having confidence within yourself and self-esteem, you know, having proper level of self-esteem. And notice I said proper level of self-esteem. It is a difference between being confident and arrogant. So, you know, but yeah, so yeah, and then the other element I think of is, you know, not enough time. Like, why don't you have enough time? You know, I mean, how hard is it to take a moment to do something nice for you, or even to say a kind word to yourself? You can do it for somebody else. You know,
that's true.
You know, and I love it. You got the time in the world to do everything else. You ain't got time in the world to take care of you. I tell you what, one thing that used to always be said to me, especially when it was in the maintenance of my vehicle, well, if you don't take care of that, or you miss whatever type of appointment in regards to fixing something, and it don't run, how you gonna get to where you gotta get to? It's kind of the same way with you, right? Because we are a machine. I hate that word machine. I always say all the time, I'm not a machine, I'm not a robot. You know? But look at it from the perspective that you are someone that is breathing, doing, working, right? So if you're not taking care of you, how on earth are you supposed to be able to take care of anybody else? You know, if you're not feeding yourself with the good stuff, then what exactly are you going to be excreting out? You know, and we got enough negativity in the world, you know. We got enough of that. We don't need any more. No, we don't need no more. We got our fill. You know what I'm saying? We have our fill. So, Mia, tell me this. What are some of the ideas that you think are good, or that you actually do yourself, that celebrates you?
Wow, that's a great question. I'm sitting here thinking, when is the last time I celebrated myself? It's been a little while. And I would say that what I would love to do to celebrate myself is to take a very nice long vacation somewhere on a tropical island where I can be served and eat great food and relax and not be bothered.
I'm just saying, left alone.
But in all seriousness, you know, I really think that every day is a victory. You know, every day you get up, you accomplish anything is a victory. So every day you owe yourself a thank you. You owe yourself a pat on the back. You owe yourself an attaboy if that's what you would like to do. So it could be something as simple as just maybe turning off the TV for a little bit and reading a book, you know, that you haven't had a chance to finish. It could be something as simple as writing a letter. We don't write letters anymore. We send text messages now. But when's the last time you wrote a letter? I had someone over the Christmas holiday to write me a beautiful letter. I was so surprised because it was someone I actually had known from my military career. And she actually made me a blanket. She hand crocheted me a blanket. She put a
Wow.
personal note that she had written, and I literally just cried and cried and cried because it was just so touching. And I think that a lot of times we need those little inspirational moments, if you will. So I think that something as simple as writing yourself a note, a love note, and that might sound a little weird, but if we're able to ridicule and we're able to find the negative, and if we're able to put ourselves down, why can't we bring ourselves up? So
Very
if you
good.
take the opportunity to write yourself a love note, it doesn't have to be long, but
Right.
just letting yourself know, I'm proud of you because today you did this, today you accomplished this, today you achieved that. Fold it up, tuck it away, and then when you're having a not so great day, go back and read those little love notes to yourself,
I like
and watch
that.
how that just really lifts your spirits, and it takes the heaviness and the cloudiness away from your day.
Right.
So just whatever you enjoy doing. Sometimes we get so caught up in the busyness of the day, we don't do things that we enjoy doing. We do things because we have to do it.
Yeah.
But it could be taking a walk, listening to the birds, getting some sunshine, exploring your neighborhood. When's the last time you actually talked to your neighbors? So just the little things matter. And of course, if you're able to do the bigger things like taking that vacation that I mentioned, that's great too.
Yes. Everybody should do whatever they can to do that at least one time in their life, because vacation is good. Staycations are okay too, but if you can take a vacation, that's always good.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I've already got places already on my bucket list that I would love to go to, and I'm just hoping in this lifetime I'll be able to do it. I've got to get myself comfortable with flying again, but hey, it's got to happen, because I got to be there. So that's a really good ways though. And I like that letter writing to yourself. I think that's really cool. Is it, because sometimes you'll leave like maybe little notes when we used to do that. Like, you remember Post-its?
Yes. I still have some.
Yeah, I gotta use those, but it's not like it's used as much now, is it?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Great. So, but if you like write a little note for somebody else and then they find it, later on throughout the day, and uplifts them. So I like that idea of writing yourself a letter and just remember where you put it. So that way when your feelings are going away, that you just go and grab it and then read it, because I laugh because there's sometimes, I think I might have shared this with you too, where sometimes if I'm having like a bit of a challenge day, I'm trying to get away from saying bad days too often. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. You'll probably hear me say that sometimes, right? But when I'm having a challenge day, I'll sometimes look at my old videos.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. Or looking at pictures. That's a good one too. I don't know if people do photo albums as much anymore.
They do a version of it, I think. Even if
yes, I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. Yes, I have thousands of pictures on my phone that I hope I never lose.
Yeah.
But I don't know if people really, take pictures, putting together, just really capture the moment. Right. But back in the day, I still have a lot of photo albums, even when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll just sit down and look at those pictures, and it just brings back such happy memories. And I see myself back in those days, in those moments. I see myself laughing and doing whatever it was I was doing as a kid, enjoying ice cream or riding my bike or whatever it was.
Right.
It's just a really nice way of just kind of taking a break from the busyness of life and just rewarding yourself, celebrating, who you are. So that's a nice thing to do as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's so cool when you can. Oh, I remember those days, but it's so cool when you can do a reflection back on happier times and happier moments and get yourself kind of just inspired, to feel good and move forward in that moment, because, as they say, this too shall pass. And so, hopefully the passing of whatever the issue is quick and speedy, and not as painful, but, at the end of the day, moments continue to keep happening. And it's really what you do in the current moment that's going to, affect the future moments, right? So sometimes
Yes.
it's what 90% of an issue isn't the issue itself, it's your attitude towards the issue. So, and 10% is the issue. So, that's pretty startling numbers, because I think for me, it's probably, I don't know, like 70% the issue and 30%.
Oh, wow.
But, I listen to the experts, and that's what they say. Look, we're all work in progress. So you do what you can, and being authentic and transparent in that for yourself, I think is a good thing. Be realistic at what you're working with. But yeah, I used to love doing that when I was a kid too, just flipping through the photo albums and looking at, even some individuals, you may not know who they are, but you're seeing the moments, and then, conversations come from that. And it's a really great pastime. And I like the concept you put about just turning off the TV sometimes. I love my television, I love my series and stuff, I am disciplined enough to turn off the TV at times, but I ain't got that many vices, so let me have my TV.
Yes. Another good one is music. Yes. Music is a universal language, so regardless of what your age is, what your culture is, your background, music is always a great way to just celebrate. I know I found myself having, some not so great days, and I turn on the radio or turn on a CD or turn on something on my phone, and I listen to a song. I'm like, oh, this is the jam, and I start dancing around, just getting into the music, and I forget about, what it was that was troubling me. So maybe you like pop, maybe you like rock, maybe you like heavy metal, what country, whatever you like, listen to it, and allow that music to do what music does, which is to make you happy.
That is so true. I often ask the question for people, like, what the soundtrack of their life would be, because that's what I look at music to be, the soundtrack of my life, and it's like when you have those favorite songs that you remember and reminisce about, you can remember where you were the last time you heard the song, what you were doing, and just what was going on, and it's just a feel, it's such an emotional connection to whatever is happening in that moment. And music, honestly, music can save your life too. It's just one of those things that can take you away. It allows you to escape from whatever's going on. And then at the flip side, it's one of my first go-tos in connection with dancing when I'm my first effort of celebrating. I'm getting down. Hey, that's my thing right there. And I can't help it. My mother-in-law says, "Oh, you always got a song in your head, don't you?" I said, pretty much. Because sometimes I need to have that just to make the day move, and I love having some kind of tangible moment to that feeling of celebration and excitement, and so music definitely does that for me. So I think that's a really great way of expressing your celebration.
Yes, absolutely. I know there's a young lady I'm friends with on Facebook, and she had actually posted a video of herself. She was dancing to this song, and she was feeling it. She was really feeling it, and she said, "You know what? Don't worry, be happy."
That's
she was
just
dancing, and she was having such a good time. And I wrote in the comments, I said, the next time you do that, let me know, because I want to be your dance partner.
Oh, that's so sweet. And I bet you that made her laugh too.
Yes, it did.
And isn't that nice in the fact of connecting with others and looking at what other people are doing? We talked a little bit about, the celebrating of others as well, especially with women. I hate to see the scandal catfighting between women. I just don't understand why, really, we got to stick up for ourselves. We got to stick together. My goodness, we could really rule the world, for real. Didn't Beyonce do a song like that? That we run this such and such a, so, so we got to unite like Voltron. So definitely. My goodness, it's so nice to not always feel so guarded with everybody and everything, And when you're able to see the good and happiness in somebody else and what they're doing, it makes you feel good too. Sometimes if things ain't working for you and ain't been working for a while, and you see someone else has got things working all the time, you may have a moment or two where you be like, I'm happy. I really am happy for you.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, look, it's a human feeling, you just want to be able to recognize that and, do more of the authentic feel of happiness than the other side, and keep it be okay because, look, not everybody's perfect. I mean, look, sometimes you can't be hearing somebody jumping up and down when your world is literally falling around you. Sometimes, I'll get back with you in a minute, I'm up here trying to put out this fire here that's about to get started,
Yes.
Yeah, but definitely celebrating ourselves is so important, and celebrating each other as women is important. I love that what I've been seeing as far as the sharings for Women's History Month and a lot of posts on social media with Instagram and Facebook. I think it's been such a nice way to learn about different things that was going on. I put out a few posts myself, and all the women that I posted about, I don't think I knew of any of them. But of any of them. And it was just really nice to be able to read their stories, and see what they did and some of what they're still currently doing.
Yes, that's true. That's so true.
And I just love that. And I've seen some posts from some other ladies who have posted things about, women throughout history. And I'm just like astonished at some of the things that, why didn't I know about that? I mean, there's so many people doing some great things,
Yes.
So, and I'm sure some of them probably felt every now and again, well, look, me, really, can I make this kind of a difference? And the answer is yes, you can, and if the intent is there to do good, to do in service, to be helpful, you can do those things too. Not everything can be bought. Not everything could be, promotions to death. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to kind of be in the moment and participate in the moment and the opportunities that are presented. And, there's a lot of these women that you read a lot of their stories, including, obviously for our own, we have our own journeys and our own challenges that we have faced. But there's some stories also. I've seen some challenges and things that they face. And I'm like, no, not I. Not I, And I just definitely tip my hat to them because, I mean, my gosh, a lot of them are doing things that make it possible for us to do a lot of things that we do now, and see us in a different light, in a different way. So, it's so important to remember to not only celebrate yourself, but also be, open and free with celebrating others too, and it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does.
And then for me, as far as things that I like to do in celebrating, I'm definitely a homebody, but I love to travel. I love to see any place other than what I'm looking at sometimes. Sometimes it's like, I just need to get out of this city. I need to see something else. I need to be inspired by something else, So I definitely do love to travel. But if I'm in a position where I cannot do that, then definitely, a good book for me, a movie for me, and actually make it a real event, really actually get into making me some snacks that I may not always have, and to get my glass of, Jubilee, whatever that might be, what I'm in the taste for, and really make it an event, make it an appointment, really put that on that calendar and say, this is what I'm going to be doing, and only focus on that. Put the phone away, put the laptops away, Macs, whatever you got, whatever you're using, all these kind of devices, put them away, and just sit down and be within self, and whatever is being fed to you, So I definitely, I love a good movie. I love a good series. It's much harder lately, and over the last maybe year or so to kind of catch up on a series, But I think that's the way I like to celebrate. I guess I just like some of the simpler things. When it comes to doing that, and I also do like to have instant gratification in that, so I would want to put something in place that is doable very quickly.
Right, absolutely.
I know. And with traveling, if you're able to hop on a plane right away, that's great. But one of the benefits of that with traveling is it gives you something to look forward to. So you're celebrating every day up until and then all throughout. So I think that's a real fun way of celebrating. So those are, I think, my things. And then, really hanging out with people, people that you love, people that make you, a better you, people that are there with you and that you can just cut up with and just, be your authentic, vulnerable self if need be, and just be your fun self and not have to worry about anything. So, yeah. So, wow. This is a great conversation. See, we really went down there, didn't we?
Yes.
I love my glass. Love my glasses. It's so cute. I pulled it out of the cabinet. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had these back here, all the way in the back. You know what I'm talking about? Sebastian, see, this brings me joy. You know, this right here.
Yes.
That statement, even though I'm not going anywhere, it brings me joy. So. And for a minute, I'm not thinking about some of the other things that I got to deal with that is not so pleasant. It does not bring me joy. So. Well, Mia, is there anything else that you want to share within the community in this area before we talk?
You know, I just love this topic. And I believe in the beginning of this segment, you said that we simply just don't celebrate ourselves enough. So starting today, I challenge each and every one of us to make a dedicated, committed, scheduled time that we are going to celebrate ourselves.
Okay.
Put it on the calendar. Put it on your calendar that this day, this time, I'm celebrating me. I'm not celebrating anything else. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not booking any other appointments. I'm going to celebrate me. So I just think, you know, that's something that we should all do.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I wrote it down because Mia said to do it, so I wrote it down. Make time to celebrate me. Put it on my calendar. It's on my notes here, so I know to put that on the other electronic
device.
Stick to it. Nothing comes in between you and your time. Yeah. I like that. Nothing. Yes. No sign is necessary, because if you are feeling that and you're doing that, you will make sure that no one will disturb that peace.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, everybody, I have enjoyed my time with Miss Mia. And Mia, thank you so much for joining me for another topic in the Let's Chat About series. I'm super excited. We have so much more to talk about, so this is just the beginning.
Yes.
You know, so thank you so much for your time and just being so gracious with giving your time. I just enjoyed, you know, talking about all things important in the arena of celebrating, you know.
Yes.
So, yeah, and breaking down those pitfalls, or I'm really liking the word pitfalls right now, but challenges and situations that stop you from celebrating, and why is that, right? You know, let's stop doing that. Like Mia said, put that on a calendar and stick to it. You know, do that, and then make that a repetitious thing. Do it over and over again. I think you have to do something 13 times before it becomes a habit. So make this a habit. You know, pick a day that works for you and do it. And if you got to adjust and adjust, if you got to, you know, make a flexible calendar, then do that. But make sure you are not flexible with celebrating. Make sure that is being done. So and just, you know, enjoy yourself along with it. And hey, comment below what type of things you like to do in celebrating yourself, or just to get away a little bit, just so you can at least appreciate, hey, the work that you have done. You know, we would love to know. It would be so great to see that in the community and just have a little conversation going in the comment section in regards to some of your responses. So yeah, and of course, remember that you can follow Miss Mia on Instagram at DV Miller, because as I say, she is DV Miller. I love that. Wow. And of course, she's also the CEO of Women Doing Our Own Thing. So as you can see, she's been helping us do our own thing here on these sessions, and I'm just so grateful for that. And of course, make sure you're following me as well on Instagram at Motivate Inspire Mentor. And yeah, we're doing great things over there. And just, you know, look, we're having a good time living in the lifestyle enriched in motivation, mentorship, and inspiration. So make sure that we are doing all three. And I think on that note, we will see you guys later. Be blessed, and make sure you subscribe, because we like to have you join the community, because there's always room in the suite. So yeah. And I think for that, I guess we're all. Bye.
Bye-bye.